nice and cool 6:49 o'clock at night. I've taken a reasonably lengthy nap. I feel pretty well hydrated. I've got my hostility amped, flowing through my freaking veins. I think we're ready for a pretty good arm pump. So I've been on a bit of a streak. Deer running around. A little bit of a streak of doing triceps and biceps, not like supersetted, like not doing each set immediately after the other, but doing a set of triceps, resting, catching my breath, and then doing a set of bis, right? And then just repeating that process until I feel like both my triceps and my bis are done. But I don't know. I don't know if I think that's the best method. I will say this though, it does always let me finish the lift with a complete arm pump, because you got to remember, when I do all of triceps first and then all of biceps and then go to the mirror, take my shirt off, pose down, my biceps are fully pumped, but my triceps, the pump is kind of diminished a little bit over the course of the bicep portion of the workout. So doing a back and forth style, like a supersetted workout in a way, by the time both my tricep and my biceps are fully pumped, that's when I'm posing down. So my arms look as crazy as ever, or as crazy as they ever do, which I do like. And I do think it is definitely stimulating them, because I'm still doing, my 8, 7 or so working sets, followed by, or not followed by, but, and I feel nice and fatigued. I feel super pumped. Right? So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. But part of me also likes doing all of triceps and then all of biceps, just so I can focus on one muscle group at a time and really give it my, complete attention. So I'm not going to say one method is absolutely superior to the other. And if you're just kind of a regular lifter, or not a regular lifter, but let's say, bodybuilder style lifter, I think it's going to benefit you to try different workouts every so often. I'm not saying you have to absolutely shock the muscle per se, but if you do the same workout every time, it's not like I'm going to say you're going to get used to it, right? Fucking power lifters get pretty strong doing 3x5 for 8 months straight, doing the same kind of body parts, or not the same body parts, but the same basic workouts. Still gives them results because they're pushing themselves progressively harder. But if you keep doing the same workout over and over and over again, I do think you could kind of start to develop, let's just say, potentially like gaps in, what parts of your build you're hitting. Like, let's say, just as a really extreme example, that someone, for their back day, they only did lat pull downs. That's all they did. The whole back day was lat pull downs. They did 8 sets, they left. Right? Their sets could have been hard, and their lats would be pumped, but they're missing out on their sort of mid traps. Right? So that's obviously an example where somebody is definitely missing out on muscle groups. But, let's just say even intramuscular, like for just your chest. If all you ever do is flat bench and maybe like decline press, you're going to be missing out on your upper chest, So training variability, not only do I think it's going to have a, higher rate of, well, it's just going to give you different stimuluses. That's all I'm trying to say. And I think hitting something from every angle is probably going to give you better results than just doing it the exact same way every time. You're going to be less likely to run into plateaus that way too, right? Everybody loves bringing up the, like, what's the definition of insanity? Right? It's doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you're completely plateaued, you can't seem to put on weight, I think your issue is more than likely diet. You need to eat more food, but it could also be training. If you have been doing the exact same routine, even though I think you could do the same routine and make steady progress, if you've been doing the exact same thing and you can tell, or maybe you can't tell, that your intensity has kind of flattened out, like every lift is the exact same, moderate intensity of the last one. I mean, you got to remember, building muscle is much more difficult than maintaining it. But that being said, even though it is harder, the difference in your intensity, it doesn't necessarily have to be huge, right? Like a guy could be training next to another dude, and let's say that other guy next to him, let's say guy number B, guy letter B, he pushes every set 2 reps harder than the guy next to him. And maybe they started off at the exact same size and weight. I think that guy who's pushing harder, even though they could be eating the same amount of calories and like calories in, calories out, everything else, the guy who's training harder, I'm going to say he is going to get better results 99 out of 100 times, at least. So I think that's all I got to say there. But arms, standard shit. Push downs, rope. There's no dip machine at this gym, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? And then buys will just be a variety of curls. Actually, that's not true. It will be a variety of curls, but I'm also going to add some bicep biased cable pull downs. I'll get into those later. That's kind of a... So let me just sort of do a whole little recap. If you've ever heard people say that, chin-ups are a really good bicep builder, right? I've heard that before. And a couple of years ago, when I heard people say that, when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. That's a back exercise, right? If I want bigger biceps, I want to do fucking bicep curls. I kind of had a little bit of a closed mentality about it. But as of late, after actually trying them now, you bring like a bench or an exercise block to a cable stack, put the cable stack at the top notch, add a straight bar, and you can go pretty heavy. You're pretty strong on this, right? Underhand, sort of, you're doing a pull down action, but you have to imagine that you're doing a curl. Like you have to somehow do a pull down, but all biceps. And it feels fucking sweet. So again, not only is it just another, hard set, and a set that I like, I can actually squeeze my shit, get super pumped, get really fatigued. So I just like the set. But again, it's just a completely different way to hit your biceps. Sure, if you look at all exercises for any specific muscle group, if you really narrow it down and you just isolate the core components, if you do a skull crusher, all you're doing is bent arm to straight arm. If you're doing a push down, if you really just zoom in on your arm, all you're doing is bent arm to straight arm. But having your arms at different angles and like doing the shit in different ways, it is gonna feel different. And that's not just a different feeling. It's the fact that it feels different means it's a different kind of stimulus. So just sort of looping back to what I was saying earlier, make sure to change your shit up, at least a little. It's going to be in your best interest. I'll stand behind that 100%. So Saturday night, what do you think? Is it going to be busy or is it going to be empty? I'm so bad at guessing this. Sometimes I'll say it's empty and then it's packed, and then sometimes I'll guess it's packed and then it's empty. Who cares? Good pump regardless. So let's just get started. All right, definitely going to start with a set of triceps first, but I'm still not sure if I want to do all of triceps or a back and forth style. I'll decide after this set. But full stack with a plate. I could, okay, actually I am going to add another plate, but moderately controlled reps, full squeeze. Like for these, I'm not trying to just sit here and like pump out like kind of partials. At least when I'm strong, I want a complete contraction at the bottom. And then once I get weak enough where I can't do full reps, that's when I'll do some partials. But I'm gonna grab another plate and then start the first set. Okay, I lied. Let's just do one plate. Ah, goodness. I don't know if you've ever thrown a couple of plates on the side of these stacks before, but when you get more than one, they start to kind of make the machine just have a lot more friction. It's kind of like twisting. One will be enough. All right, I'm going to adjust my typical approach. And instead of trying to go crazy heavy for my first set, let's be a bit lighter and methodical. So instead of at the crazier end, probably about the 80s, I'll usually put straps on, fucking just swing them around. I think I'm going to try the 40s. And instead of just doing the reps, you know, for their own sake in a way, just kind of getting them done as quick and hard as possible, I'll be a bit slower. So with these, I'm going to sit here, probably even hold it for a second, maybe not a whole second, but just a moment, and really try to burn out like that and make a little bit more use of lower weight. Because it feels way different. Like the fatigue I get in my biceps from a set of the 80s is very different than the burn I get from the 40s. And I think an even mix of both, that's probably good for you. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was good. I mean, that was a fucking ton of reps. Probably way more than I usually do. I guess I'm really playing the part with the change it up, like I was talking about in the car. But let's go back to push downs. Okay, I think I've had enough of this exact style. I'll change up triceps for the next set, but back to curls. All right, I can't help myself. Let's go a little heavier with the 55 instead of the 40s. Okay. Oh. Okay. I think preacher's next, but let's focus on that set of triceps first. All right, let's do a back and forth of single arm. So 5 reps with the right arm, 5 with the left, 5 with the right, 5 with the left, back and forth, until, you know, pretty much failure. Of course, I'll get a couple partials out. Okay. A little lighter for this one. Okay. So for me, my right tricep is a bit behind the left one. So whenever I do these single-sided movements, my cue for when the set should be over is when the weak side is fully cooked, right? Obviously, those last 5 reps on the right arm are way more difficult than the last ones on the left. And it's because the left one's a little bit ahead. So in a way, I feel like I'm trying to hold the left one back a little bit and let the right one catch up. But I already set up the preachers. Let's just keep going back and forth. Similar to the first set, I'm gonna really try to squeeze. So not necessarily a feat of strength with the weight. I mean, fucking anybody can do the 25 to the easy bar and preachers. But I will try my very goddamn best to turn this into a feat of intensity. So let's just throw this shit around. Okay, I could have gone a little heavier, but still a good set. Let's go back to I don't know. We'll do some, oh, I do know. Let's go do some more triceps. I just realized 2 cables were open at once. Guess what I'm gonna do? It's been a while since I've done these cross body extensions. So it's kind of similar to the single arm push downs we were doing earlier, but still, I mean, similar in the fact that I'm going from bend arms to straight arms, but light on these, I mean, 20, literally 1/5 of the stack with each arm. So if you're even a little bit less, you know, let's just say strength inclined, and you have to do the 7.5s, whatever. With these, it's not about the weight. I'm really just trying to squeeze. So pretty much the same as that first set of biceps, right? Like you're gonna do a weight I can control and manage and just keep pumping out reps and squeezing until that weight becomes too heavy for me to handle. That's the mentality here. Okay. Let's do another heavier set of preachers. I think I'm going to come back to this This felt fucking sweet. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah. I probably could have done a couple of partials at the end of that, but that last sort of all-out rep, I kind of felt like it was it. Back to extensions. Honestly, that might be the last set, just these tricep extensions. I'll see how they feel, but pump-wise, I'm not saying that the pump is the only factor, but I feel like this workout's almost done. Okay. I think that's it, man. Just kind of based on subjective feeling, which apart from like fatigue and pump, the rest is kind of like subconscious. I might not even be able to describe it, but I think that's about it for arms today. Let's go pose down and go eat something. Okay. So I don't even know how many sets that was. I know I did one more set of triceps than I did for bis, since I started and ended with a tricep set. And that was almost, well, not intentional, but I do not mind that, because triceps are a little ahead of the game for bis for me. So if they get a little bit of extra attention, that is just all the fucking better. So let's see how they're looking. Subjectively, I kind of feel like shit. I didn't eat a ton of food today. My stomach's kind of upset. I don't know what I ate. Nothing weird either. Like yesterday was a relatively normal day. And I don't mean normal for me. I mean like normal like in general. Like not that very much fucking candy. I was just eating real food. So who knows? But luckily all today's lift was arms. So if it was a leg day, I think I'd be suffering a little bit. I'd probably be feeling a little bit more lethargic. With such a small muscle group like arms, I mean, if I'm not feeling absolutely 100%, not the worst thing in the world. Woo. Oh my goodness. I mean, you tell me, we pumped? There's definitely no fucking contact from fingers to shoulders, that's for sure. Ugh. Love it, but I'm fucking exhausted. I need a good night's rest tonight for sure before legs tomorrow. So let's get out of here. All right, arms. Fuck, man. I went to the Chipotle right next door to this gym. Got 6 steak tacos. Honestly, I should have got 9. Kind of feel like a fucking baby for not getting 9. But whatever. And even after walking in, sitting there for a second in line, ordering, my arms are still fucking swollen. Love it. Abso-freaking-lutely love it. So, in terms of any current events, still waiting for one of my camera lenses to get repaired. Thank you, Best Buy Protection Plan and the Geek Squad. I'm sure that'll get back to me. So, but other than that, yeah, fucking jack. Just chilling, lifting. Well, actually, that's not true. Classes are also going well. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're a responsible student, if that's your demographic. and you're getting straight A's in every fucking class, and you're doing all your homework and every bit of extra credit, and you're studying for hours upon hours. Very responsible. But don't let that get in the way of your fucking lifts, all right? And I'm serious. But, you got to balance this shit out. So that's, I do think about this a lot. Well, not a lot maybe, but sometimes I think about it, and I feel rather fucking spoiled. Because in any personal endeavor, like if you have any kind of shit that you like doing, then it's going to be in your best interest to have a pretty significant amount of time, ideally probably per day, to dedicate to it, so that you can constantly be, working towards whatever you're working towards. Now, that doesn't have to be lifting. That could be whatever the fuck you want to do. Of course, if I'm talking about anything, it's going to be about, lifting weights. But I'm not like, I guess by nature, a fucking social butterfly per se. It's not like I don't hang out with the fucking fools every so often. But I don't have too much of a problem kind of, just chilling or reading the group chat but not replying, and kind of only, popping up every once in a blue moon. So if you're a real fucking outgoing dude, you're always kind of, like, okay, we gotta all hang out here. We gotta all go out here. All right, come on, let's go bar hopping tonight. Okay, whose house are we pre-gaming at? Kind of mixing in the fact that as you get older, hanging out with your buddies usually correlates with drinking. That's not in your best interest. I'm serious. I mean, I know it's kind of, it's not like everybody that says this follows it, but fucking look. In terms of getting a badass leg pump or a crazy fucking chest day, right? If you've got that tomorrow and that's something that you really value and you actually want to kind of excel at it, the temporary benefit of enjoyment that night, in the long run, I don't think that's going to outweigh the long-term satisfaction you'll get from kind of having good lifts on a consistent basis. No, it doesn't have to be lifts. It could be anything. But, that's one thing that separates fucking man from animal, right? We've got the capability to employ delayed gratification. So, for the most part, of course, there's outliers, dudes who just were like massively lucky with whatever they did, and they're just a baller by nature, which is sick for them, I guess. But if you're not capable of kind of, putting in work without any results for a long period of time, then you're not really gonna, well, then you shouldn't be surprised when you don't get any results. That's what I'm kind of trying to say. And again, I think I am kind of spoiled. Like with all these videos, the first one that I posted is the exact same format as this one. So I definitely kind of lucked out, hit the algorithm right on the head like that. But you got to remember, before I recorded anything, even like some TikToks, there was fucking like 3.5 years of solo lifts, right? Where it was just me doing my thing. So it's, don't forget that anybody who's anybody, not that that's the point. It's not like I'm whatever, but anybody who's really fucking awesome at something, I think they're just capable of practicing it and actually kind of improving at it without anybody watching them. So I'm kind of jumbling all sorts of ideas into this little chat, but I guess what I'm really trying to say is don't be upset by the fact that this shit is going to take a while. You know what I'm saying? Don't be discouraged by the fact that, before you get to whatever your dream physique is, I don't know if I really have a dream physique. I just kind of want to keep growing as much as I can. But, before you can get to a point of absolute fucking, freakiness, it's going to take a long period of just doing the exact same fucking thing over and over and over again. But you got to remember that grind, that repetitive nature of your day in, day out routine, it will fucking add up. That is, if you can stick to it. And if you can rewire your brain to enjoy doing it, then that's even better, you know? Like, as often as I talk about like motivation and like, oh, you gotta, just stay disciplined, I'm not even, in a way, I'm almost kind of just talking out my ass, right? There are some days where I do feel like extra tired. Like, let's say I had a full day of like exams and like I had to work on projects. So let's say I've been awake from like 6 to, I mean, let's include like procrastinated assignments too. So I've been up from like 6 studying exams, projects, whatever, and then I don't really get to go lift until like 10 at night. Like on a day like that where I'm really just fucking totally out of it, that's a day where I might have to tap into some discipline and say, okay, dude, fuck, I'm tired. All right, whatever, come on, let's go. Right? But for the most part, I just like fucking lifting. So it's never something that I have to dread. I'm always looking forward to it. So if you can somehow rewire your brain like that, where you actually enjoy it, or make sure you do a routine that you enjoy, then you're gonna have no issue doing this shit for years upon years on end, right? This is another thing I was trying to think of. Not only is it just, fun to have something to work at on a consistent basis, right? Fucking hobbies, whatever. Not just kind of whatever you got to do for work or school or anything. Just having something that you do purely for your own enjoyment, that's going to give you a pretty serious amount of satisfaction. But then taking that a step further, right? Practicing it and learning it and kind of, even obsessing over something like that to the point where you become skilled, dude, you got to remember, and it's at its fucking core of human nature, right? Proficiency and fucking, you know, high level ability is just fucking badass, you know? That's why we all love fucking athletes and rock stars and whoever else. Maybe not rock stars per se, but like, you know, fucking Buckethead when he's going fucking crazy on a guitar like you've never seen. Right? The fact that you can see somebody do something where, compared to the average person, you're like, holy fuck, how the hell does he do that shit? Right? That's fucking cool. That's why we think sharks are cool. They're the fucking apex predator. Right? There is nothing better. Right? In the simple facet of just being a beast in the water, they've got it down. Right? So, in a way, I think the same thing about just anything. And I'm not saying me, I mean just like people in general. Right? Fast cars, sick. Jets, sick. A big ass fucking monster truck, sick. The shit that you thought was cool when you were a kid, deep down in your brain, that shit is still cool. Right? WWE wrestlers just being fucking, right? That shit is sweet. But you gotta remember, there was a long build up before you got to that process. I'm not saying weightlifting is like evolution, like in the fucking shark reference, but, why do we fucking love Goku or Naruto or any badass character like that? Right? They're like, oh, they're constantly getting stronger, they're doing new shit. Do you think anybody would watch Naruto if for every one episode of cool shit that they did in the show, there was like 300 episodes where it was just training and it was just him like throwing a fucking ninja star 1,000 times and just, repeating that shit constantly? That's the boring part. But you kind of have to go through that to get to the cool part. You know what I'm saying? Not that I think training is boring, but I hope you kind of understand a little bit of what I'm getting at here, right? So, let's just keep this rain going. This might turn into a long one. But I think a lot of people nowadays, not only am I fucking kind of concerned that we're pretty much on the first few big steps into technological dystopia, fucking, the Apple, is it, I forget the name of it. These dudes walking around with a VR headset, dude, that is fucking freaking me out. But just thinking on a more day-to-day level, right, how many people do you know have something that they're putting a serious amount of effort into, which they also enjoy, which they're also improving at on a fucking seriously consistent basis? I don't mean like, a few month, uh, ADHD hyperfixation phase where, you fucking, I don't know, what are people hyperfixating on nowadays? Whatever. Right? I'm not talking just a few months stint. I'm talking something that this guy's going to keep doing for years on end. And he's on track to fucking being really good at it. How many people do you know like that? I think it's getting rarer and rarer, right? Everybody's too focused on looks maxing, edging, and gooning. Come on, dude. Fucking pick up some weights and curl that shit. Don't stay away from this brain rot fucking bullshit. You know. So if you don't have a thing, then I think you're missing out on a pretty serious aspect of life. Right? I'm not saying that there's no pride in just living stably, right? But you got to have something more. You're not meant to just wake up, go to work, come home and like chill and watch TV because you're bored from work, and then go to sleep and repeat the process. You got to have more than that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I definitely need more than that. It just doesn't. That's just not something I want to do. So, if you don't have anything, then what does that mean? That means you got to find something. Right? Just look around. What's something that you see, people doing where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, that could be fun. It could be anything. It doesn't, and I'm not talking about just the gym. I just mean anything. Right? I feel like I've said this before. I love this reference though. I feel like, fuck, what's his name? Shit. Italian guy, always on Joe Rogan. I feel like Joey Diaz right now. Right? There's a clip of him where he's like, you know anybody where they don't do nothing? They don't do nothing. That's it, right? That's who I'm talking about. So if you don't have something, fuck, man, just pick anything. Pick anything that interests you. Give it as a beginner, just watch some YouTube videos on it, right? If your shit is, you're like, dude, I think fucking, I'm trying to think of, dude, I think guitars are cool. I love Metallica. I'd love to be able to do that. Just watch some fucking Rob Scallon videos, right? Maybe get a scrappy guitar, try to learn that shit, or just anything. And hey, let's say you try that for like 2 months, and you're like, fuck it, whatever, I'm done with this. Then pick something else. Don't think of that as a failure of a endeavor. Just think of that as one thing crossed off your list, right? And then you get to pick something else. I think there's a certain amount of magic where you can find something which fits a couple of different criteria, where you enjoy doing it and you're good at it, right? When and I'm not even talking talent, I just mean like an ability to just do something repetitively and not get bored of it, right? Even that is, I'd say, fucking talent. But even just a small amount of natural skill to do something combined with enjoying doing it, dude, that is what's going to fucking set you up for some serious upward spiral action. Like, if you actually want it, if you have an internal motivation to do something, it's going to be so much more fucking fun. I back in high school, or even before then, I was doing I used to do gymnastics, not at like an insanely high level, but I could do some pretty, like, the spring floor, like I could do like some double fucking backflips and land back on my feet. So I could do some cool shit for sure. And then same thing with diving, right? With a diving board, you do a couple flips, you dive in, try not to splash, right? And I liked it, but it wasn't really my thing at the end of the day. Though I did enjoy it enough where, I wanted to do it. But I saw a lot of kids there where they had a lot of pressure on them because a lot of the time their parents were really putting a lot of fucking stress on them to perform well. And sure, they could be good, but they didn't really have an enjoyment, it seemed like. So if you can find something where you're internally motivated to do it and you enjoy it, then I think you're setting yourself up for success. And the benefits that you'll get from having something like that, like something that you can do for 1 hour a day, which you really fucking like, dude, I swear you're just going to enjoy life more. I'm not a fucking psychiatrist, but I'd say anybody would agree with that statement. So just a few things to keep in mind. Right? If you've been living the same day on repeat, and not in a good way, like I've been living the same year on repeat. Wake up, food, gym, bed, right? So even though the days may be the same, the results are gradually differing over time. Right? So that's where living the same day on repeat, I don't see it as a problem. But if you're living on the same day and repeat and you're not moving towards anything, then you're just eating away time. And you got to remember, dude, we've only got so much of that shit. It is running out. So take a few of those thoughts to heart. It's definitely worth thinking about. Right? The best time to start, again, I was about to just start riffing like one-liner motivational quotes. You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm trying to get at. So cardio in the morning, followed by legs later. I think I might have to do mainly leg extensions. On my last set of squats on the last leg day, I did a really wobbly rep, and I can feel my back's a little bit sore. Like not to the point of like actual like serious injury, but every so often, if I ever kind of lose my internal bracing structure in a squat, and I'm a little bit wobbly, I do kind of feel that I like can potentially mess up my lower back just a little bit. So if it still feels sore tomorrow, then maybe tomorrow will be a lighter day, maybe mainly leg pressing, leg extensions, sissy squats for quads. But no matter what it ends up being, it's still going to be a good leg pump. So that's all I got. Hopefully you think about doing your cardio as well, but apparently that's only for the 1% who really fucking want it.